pleasure to introduce the speakers. Where the first speaker is Mr. Balachandar. So Mr. Balachandar is the SVP and Chief People Officer of the Ola Group. He's leading the HR processes and pioneering the all-women factory at Ola, the first time in India. The amazing achievements and the inclusion strategy where women have demonstrated versatility in manufacturing and promoting the product. He leads the people function at the Ola Group. And now my second speaker, that is Mr. Sundar Vadivel, is a senior human resource leader with over 25 years of experience across multiple industries. Sundar's experience spans across large US multinationals like General Motors and Visteon, and European firms like Ongi and Perlos, and with British and Dubai-based retailers, that is Tesco and Landmark Group, respectively. He brings capabilities in setting startup and greenfield operations, building organization capabilities while managing growth, scale, and transformative changes. So currently, Mr. Sundar is the Senior Director of the Human Resource, helping to build the Ola Electric. So let us all listen to them as they're going to throw in some enlightenment. I would also request Mrs. Rajni Sriraman, the Head HR of TVS SES, to take this forward. Over to you, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. It's my great pleasure to be part of this particular conversation with the HR gurus. And trying to help a lot of women to come to the forefront and showcase their potentials so they can be present to the world with all their talents and potentials. So as I was thinking about the whole thing, diversity and inclusion is not anymore a good to have. It is well woven into the business strategy. There is a solid business case when we start looking at these things, and there is always a measure to whatever we are doing. So in those words, and also we are in that part of the year or that part of the century where we are very fortunate to have opportunities like this to reaffirm the importance of diversity in our respective professions, for students in their research, for government people in their policy making. And here we have people like Bala, people like Sundar, and all of those people who are trying to take the whole thing forward with so much passion and so much interest. And creating a gender balanced workforce, if you look at it, has always been an ever increasing priority for all organizations today. And today we have a lot of added interests that are coming in, like the ESG, the environment, social and governance, which is also putting a lot of importance to equitable gender workplaces. So it is very important for us to look at all these things and see how we can prosper with these concepts and how we can take things forward. So having said all these things, and without further ado, we would like to listen to the gurus, as very nicely Mr. Deenadayalan has created the what do I say, the caption or the branding. It's very important, so to understand from Bala sir and Sundar to see what they are doing. And I request Bala to share the Ola story in the larger perspective, how it all began and where it started, what was the dream, and where are they today in terms of that dream. So Bala, to you.
Rajni, thank you so much. This is Sundar here.
Yes,
unfortunately, Bala is not able to join.
Oh, okay.
I really hope he is able to make it during the session.
Sure. I'm sure you are, fit enough to take these questions forward. You are an able second line, so please take this question forward and tell us where it all began. And as we were discussing, it could be a 30,000 feet kind of perspective, but I think it'll be great to have that perspective as well. Please tell us what was in the promoter's mind when they started this all-women factory, and where they started and where they are now and where you want to go.
Yeah. No, I think there's a lot of interesting stories to share, and I'll be really happy to, bring those to the audience today. Before that, are you able to see the screen? Is my slideshow visible?
Yes, yes. Sundar.
Okay, great. No, Rajni, Dean, and TSG. Firstly, thanks so much for having us here and be part of this session. Very happy to participate and share, what we are doing at Ola, and really, creating an opportunity not just for women, but for more companies, more entrepreneurs to sort of emulate and role model what we are doing. So I will sort of cover this along a couple of topics. But as an introduction, let's understand just a minute, a little bit about Ola Group. See, Ola was started sometime 2010 with Ola Mobility, which is Ola Cabs. I'm sure most of the audience have used this service. We are, an internet-based, company which provide mobility services across India. We've been a very profitable company. Currently, we hold close to about 52% market share. And during COVID, many of the other competitors, who took a beating in this business, Ola survived. And today we are really, really a strong business with a strong footprint, not only in India, but overseas as well. And, in a way, we started creating empowered livelihoods for a lot of drivers across India. And I think that particular streak in terms of thinking, how do we empower more of such, grassroots level people, who can make their own livelihood, is core of how, Ola works. Sometime around 2019, Ola Electric was founded. Again, Ola as a company is more into the mobility services, the mobility as a space, as a business. We started the electric revolution with the imminent need, right? The mother planet needs more effort to make it sustainable, so that we are able to pass on, a good earth to future generations. I think with that mission, with that vision, Ola Electric was started. While it was a very ambitious plan, Ola's story is always about challenges, right? And how these challenges get addressed is essence of how Ola works, right? And we will talk about it in terms of what Ola DNA is, and people can understand, we work with a lot of constraints, but constraints don't become a bottleneck. So how do we overcome constraints? How do we cross the borders, and how do we, move forward? I think that's the essence of how Ola works. So 2019, we started, we had, COVID, early 2020. Early 2020 is when both Bala and me joined. Bala just joined a month before in April, and I joined in May. And we were able to see ground zero in Pochampalli, right? Pochampalli is about 45 kilometers from Krishnagiri, in the Sipcot industrial estate. Not much of development there. It's a new Sipcot development. In a way, very few companies were there, but Ola was coming in a very big way. And for us to be able to imagine that we're going to set up such a facility so far away, from Hosur and Bangalore, was just unimaginable. And we were like wondering, how do we really get this started, right? And the ambition is so huge, but the place was really underdeveloped. So, and there started the idea of, right, how do we get this up and running? So that was the first challenge that I encountered in our head. I work for companies like General Motors, Visteon, MNC companies. I've seen how manufacturing plants, automotive plants are, raised from ground zero. It typically takes about 18 months for any setup to, come to life. And our task was to get this done in flat 7 months, right? Again, because we bring a lot of these past experiences, we believe so much in that, and sometimes don't believe that there is another way of doing it, and it is possible. And, companies can set new benchmarks, new approaches to, building and scaling business. During peak COVID times, obviously there were a lot of restrictions. We ensured that with utmost compliance to government regulations, we were able to build this factory from ground zero in flat 7 months. I have not experienced this ever in my career. I'm pretty sure so many employees who've come and worked with us are working with us from companies like Tata's, Bajaj, Maruti Udyog. They have not seen anything like this. So this is again part of the Ola DNA that we will talk about. You know, how do we make things happen which is not done before? So we are in Pochampally, spread over 500 acres. You know, we have a built-in capacity of about 1 million scooters. That's 10 lakh scooters annually. Our ambition is to grow to about 10 million. That's about a crore scooters on an annual basis. So that's the ambition, that's the vision we have, which translates into about 8.5 lakh scooters per month, you know, when we are operating in full capacity. Right, a very modern plant, and we have ambition to, you know, grow this all-women factory, not restricted to what we are today, but to take it to about 10,000 women employees as we go along. Right, so that's the bit of introduction about Ola. I think I want to introduce with a video which gives you a context of what Ola is. Great. So that was a 2-minute sneak peek about Ola Electric Factory in Pochampally. I'm sure all of you saw, you know, the range of activities and work that we do there, and you could see all our women associates, you know, producing or manufacturing the scooter, and we are currently, you know, market leaders. Over the last 6 months, we've been having the highest market share in the EV segment in two-wheelers. So that just goes to show the power of the vision and how we can sort of leverage and enable through you know, diverse actions and initiatives. And the story that we're going to talk about is about the women associates at Ola factory. So I hope you all had a good view. Rajini, I hope the video was clear and audio was
Yes,
clear.
there's no audio, Sundar. There was no audio.
Oh,
However,
okay.
the video was good. It didn't really, because the picture was so perfect. The video was so good. The kind of work that has been carried out is so wonderful. The audio really didn't matter. So don't worry.
Okay, I'm sorry. Just a minute. I think we might do this again. Just give me a minute.
Towards the end of it, probably we can.
Wait a minute. I wish you had told me because I would have.
So somebody was typing there, so.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see that. Just a minute. Is it audible now?
Okay, now okay.
Is it audible?
Yes.
Great. I hope it was audible and much better than the previous one.
Yes, Sundar. Very nice. And we congratulate you for that super achievement. And this particular video has brought two quick questions to my mind. One is, what are the general skill levels of these women, or what kind of skill sets are you looking at when you hire and shortlist your women to join your company? And second is, what is the demographics? What kind of demography are they come from? So it will be interesting to understand that.
Yeah, no, I will cover that as we go along, Rajini, but it's more important to understand, right? An automotive company which has, a pedigree of many years versus Ola, which really doesn't have a history about, experience, capabilities in automotive. So what is the mind of an entrepreneur, right? So the entire approach to business is completely different. And I think this is the Ola DNA that I was talking about. And I hope people can read it, right? It's quite self-explanatory. So for example, when we said that we were able to build that factory in flat 6 months, right? This is the first one. If you're going to dream, make it happen, make it an impossible one, and then make it happen, right? So things that are impossible in the first impression, how do we ensure that we seize the opportunity and make it happen? I think this is one of those attributes about how Ola goes about, doing its business. And these are some of the traits and behaviors that we expect from our colleagues, our associates, and including our partners, right? Ola can't be successful unless our suppliers, the entire ecosystem works at a pace at which Ola works. So this is very, very integral to how Ola thinks and operates. I will come and specifically address the question that you have, but I would like the audience to also listen to Bhavesh, who's our
When we
of the
built our
CEO.
factory, we built it in 6 months flat. It's a million square feet built in 6 months flat. But that's not even the most astonishing thing about it. The most astonishing thing is it is run all by women. So we have 3,000 women that we have hired in the factory over the last 1 year. There's no man working on the line. It's all women. And these were all young girls. These are not uneducated girls. They have diplomas, they have degrees, but they didn't have jobs in that area. They would have gotten married, they would have not worked, and now they're part of the productive industrial workforce. When we built our factory, we built it.
Yeah, so I think so that gives you a bit of an introduction about Ola, and now we will go about specifically in terms of the women's strategy. How did we, decide why a women's workforce was integral part of our vision, right? And we both me and Bala, obviously Dean was a very integral part of our planning effort. He was a good advisor in terms of things that we should factor as we are developing a workforce strategy. We went with a lot of industrial benchmarks of what companies do in and around Krishnagiri, in and around, Hosur, what type of gender diversity, the workforce mix that people and companies had there. Flat in 5 minutes, that was thrown away. And the founder's expectation was that this particular factory is going to be an all-women's factory, right? And it was a quick 5 minutes decision. We had to walk back and come back the very next day with a very different strategic approach. When we recommended as part of our first proposal, we were looking at a phased increase of, more women at work. So we said, okay, we would have close to about 60% men. We'll start with 40% women. But as we grow over the next 2 to 3 years, we will migrate to 100% women workforce. And that was not at all, on the table for discussion. So we were going back to the drawing room. We had very short time to execute, and the entire strategy of people was built around the 60-40, gender diversity mix. Now, one of the first challenges that we noticed was if it is going to be all women, we didn't have enough diploma talent coming through from the market, right? Because we had more graduates, women were qualifying, but when we are looking at diploma as a pre-qualification, that was integral part of our hiring process. We said we will have technically qualified people, but we didn't get enough and more diploma. So we had to sort of completely come up with a new approach, go back to the manufacturing teams, talk about, okay, we will get you science graduates, but not necessarily technically qualified, in terms of knowledge and educational background. So the manufacturing team had to adapt themselves, right? We had a certain plan, the way the lines were planned, the way the training curriculum was developed. Now we had to develop the training curriculum in such a way that it was not meant for diploma holders, but more for graduates, right? So this was a complete U-turn. So I think it's a great example of how HR can be extremely responsive to the need of a founder or an entrepreneur, right? So we can't be saying, this is what works, this is what has come in our experience. I think one of the things both Bala and me have learned working in Ola is that, your experience is good, but if it can help create new benchmarks, then it is relevant. Otherwise, that experience is not relevant. So I think Bhavesh's expectation was that can we create benchmarks rather than going and following the benchmarks that others have set? So this was a very difficult, challenge thrown to us. But, we were very happy with the support that Dean and team provided in terms of mobilizing the applicants across Tamil Nadu. We put them through rigorous assessment processes. And then we also worked with GKD ITR Coimbatore in developing a technical curriculum, right? The entire curriculum had to be changed just in 7 days to suit the needs of, let's say, graduates who are, qualified in science subjects versus somebody who's a diploma or an engineer. And we took a 15-day program nearby our factory in one of the colleges. And we ensured that every associate who was joining us underwent this residential training program. And they were prepared ahead of actually, coming into the manufacturing lines and seeing themselves building this product, right? The factory is huge. I wish some of you make a visit sometime there. It can be very daunting, right? The size and the scale of the factory could just be very daunting for people. So I think we took a lot of effort to ensure that we are creating the industrial expectation, the industrial environment in our training program, and help them come prepared as they come inside the factory. So yeah, so this is the initial plan in terms of how we went about strategizing the people strategy. So I'll just show a small video which articulates a little bit about. Yeah, one more challenge, which is a very interesting challenge. The moment that the dynamics changed and it was meant to be an all-women factory, we had plans to hire women across Tamil Nadu as part of a phase 1 plan, and then migrate and get more women outside of Tamil Nadu as well. We strongly believed that we needed a dormitory, a housing facility. And we made proposals in regards to that, saying that we might have to invest to build housing facility for our women associates. Again, this is what we think other companies are doing. We have case studies of Tata Electronics, Foxconn, many such companies who provided dormitories for women. Again, the mind of the entrepreneur was different here. He said, hey, women are going to create opportunities for more business to come, the ecosystem to develop. Don't worry, the moment we hire more and more, people will build houses, offer houses for rent instead of actually doing a central dormitory services. And we took a leap of faith. It was a big risk because we wanted, as women come into workforce, we also wanted retention, right? We didn't want women to feel unsafe, leave us sooner than later that we really wished. So, that was again a bold call we made. We didn't go about investing in, dormitory. We, Bhavesh interestingly gave an example of Kota. Kota is where a lot of, IIT graduates pass out, right? This is the training hub for preparation for IITG. So a lot of training centers were operating out of Kota. So a lot of people from across the country would go and, enroll into courses and learn there for about a year or two. And Kota ensured that it developed the ecosystem where the residential support was automatically provided. And Bhavesh comes from that background. So, that was a learning which he applied, saying that I don't need to do that. The ecosystem will take care of itself. So, and today, we have close to about 1,600 women. We have not provided accommodation. And not one single woman has come and, complained saying that, accommodation is a challenge. On the contrary, more women actually come and, join us. So this is another example of, don't bring your past experience. Try to see if you can do something different, which others can emulate, others can benefit from. So yeah, so I think there are a couple of things that's there on the slide. I'm sure people would have read this. Any other questions, Rajini, on challenges per se?
Yes. So hiring is one. Second is retaining. What are some of the efforts very innovatively looking at in retaining these women? And an associated discussion would be, while you're providing a lot of basic stuff, what is that 2 or 3 things that is really making a difference and really helping the motivation to be sustained and inspiring people to come back every day to work with a similar passion. There's something I'd like to understand.
Yeah, I think it's one the story of Bhavesh, right? I mean, somebody who doesn't have automotive pedigree, and to be able to invest and create such a big asset, right? So it's a great example of somebody who doesn't have past experience can create, assets which India is really proud of, right? And I think that is the belief that we instilled in girls as well, saying that it's for you to leverage, and it's for you to sort of shape and take your career forward. Uh, and a lot of things, is hygiene. You have to ensure that we have good infrastructure, good facilities, an engaging approach to, workforce, being available all the time to be able to listen to people, providing the necessary training. All of those were in the core of how we built the basics, foundations for people to sort of feel enabled, never felt that, they are invited to work, but not supported enough. So I'm not going to repeat, because we do a lot of things that others have done, but we focus a lot on the aspect of training, right? And we spoke about how we prepared the associates for training. We have on-the-job training. Again, we have different skill levels at which, we measure them. We ensure that they are multi-skilled. And in a way that, one is supporting the other in the event of an absence, right? So we create a lot of culture of collaboration, working as one team. So this is the spirit that really works for Ola. And we've never felt at any point in time, it's been a wrong choice getting women at workforce. Our absenteeism rate is very, very low, to be very honest. And we've seen a lot of those cases of absences only because of genuine health reasons for either themselves or for their family members. I'll give you an example of one woman. Why would somebody have a motivation of fighting her family and coming and joining the very next day to work while she was a company trainee? She was not even a confirmed employee, right? So this particular woman associate was married, and she had a child. Incidentally, in the parent-in-law side, they were not very comfortable with her working in a factory. So the husband was also not very supportive. So he took the child away, went to his mother's house. This woman took up in her own stride, discussed with the family, it didn't work. She went, lodged a police complaint, got the child back, handed over the child to her mother. And the very next day she was at work, right? I think this just shows that women are so innately committed, innately passionate, innately, wanting to grow and be independent. It's just about the opportunities that are required to be provided. And I think at Ola, we've done something which not others have done. There are many other factories where women are working, but I think right from the ground zero, when you really, really have everybody as women with no significant automotive pedigree, I think that's a big accomplishment. So there are many stories, and there are a couple of videos you should listen to women speaking about, how it has impacted their lives.
Great. Thank you, Sundar. So also, from the point that you have recently stated, they are away from their homes and most of them are very young. So how do you take care of their mental health, the grievance handling part? Do you have, any in-house person, mental health professional who's helping them to handle these things? Or how things are brought to your notice, and what is the redressal mechanism?
Yeah, we do have an in-house, counseling services. So we have a lady doctor who operates, and actually we have doctor all through the 3 shifts, right, and nurses. So women feel absolutely comfortable to go and talk about their health issues. We do have counseling services that happens weekly once. So any woman who faces challenges, it could be her own personal life, it could be emotional, other aspects that is not helping her be, giving her full best. And they've been fully benefited with those services. So And there's a lot of things that we'll cover, as we cover in further slides. There's a variety of engagement initiatives that we conduct, where these initiatives are led by girls, right? HR is only an enabler at the back, and the girls take lead in planning all the activities. So I think it's an environment where they really feel, contributing very purposefully, but at the same time having fun as well.
Sure. And what about the shift? Do you operate 3 shifts or 2 shifts, or production planning based, or how does it work?
No, we operate 3 shifts. Our women work in all 3 shifts. We provide. Okay, here Bala is.
Hi. Sorry, I'm just coming back out of my founder's office.
Welcome back.
Yeah, so we were talking about the interesting challenges we've faced, and how we successfully delivered the expectations of the founder.
Yeah.
Go ahead, continue.
Yeah.
We're talking about the shift. How do you manage the 3 shifts?
We operate, not all lines work 3 shifts. There are a couple of lines that work 3 shifts. But women have, enthusiastically lapped up to the idea of contributing on a 24-hour basis. So we've never had issues of, yes, there are a few people who do have health issues, and we're very supportive in ensuring that they are assigned to the shift where they can, contribute to their full measure. We do provide transport services. Our buses run close to about 50 kilometers from our factory, especially in night shift, both pick up and drop. We do have escort services. Women feel absolutely safe and secure in the way Ola takes care of them.
Sure. Fantastic.
Interestingly, none of these have been reasons for attrition.
Okay.
And while we do our part, we spoke about some of the stories of women. They are innately committed. They want to make a career, and I think it's a partnership of both Ola's intent and their own aspirations and intent that works well.
Do you have any minimum, working period, like 3 years, 2 years? Do you sign a bond, or it's a free working? They can join, and then they work out of passion as long as they want to work.
No,
Because 18 to 22 is a critical age, and then they may have other plans as well. So how do you manage that, Sundar?
No, I think we trust our colleagues. It is our job to provide a great place to work.
Sure.
I don't think signing up a bond really can get the best out of people. We do have a company traineeship program which is for 12 months. Typically during that period they learn quite a bit on the job. At the same time, they also contribute in productive measure. At the end of traineeship, they go through a probation of 6 months. And all through the traineeship, every 6 months we have rigorous assessment. I think one of the principles that we adopt at Future Factory is that we have to be, very, very objective, fair, transparent, and honest with our colleagues, because anything that we do in regards to their career, they should be fully involved at every stage, right? So at the completion of, let's say, 1 year of traineeship, if we feel that some of our women colleagues have not fared well, and we're not able to take them to regular employment as a probationer, we feel extremely, extremely, responsible to ensure that we have been fair and honest throughout the 12-month process, right? So it's never a surprise at the end of the 12 months. We have a pass rate of about 85% of our trainees convert as probationers.
Sure.
And the same thing we do during probation period as well. Every monthly assessment happens. It's recorded. There are multiple parameters on safety, quality, productivity, housekeeping, team working, on which, they are assessed. We do provide monthly feedback. And at the end of probation, yes, we do confirm them. And today we do have a situation where 2% of our, employees don't get confirmed because they have not been very successful in terms of their performance. So I think it's a very balanced approach. It's not very paternalistic that, we have to give employment, but we also provide conducive environment where they have to give their best.
Yeah.
But for some reasons, if they are unable to contribute in the right measure, we do, part ways, but in a very, very objective and very fair manner.
Sure. One
I
question
think,
from me.
We should also talk about, we upfront decided that we will not do what many people do. Like, for example, keep contract resource, keep them on temporary for many years. We said even on day one, we are happy to confirm people. So that's the faith and confidence in the workforce that we have.
Yeah.
Right. I remember Bhavesh asking me, why is probation required? Why is apprenticeship required? You remember when we first put the strategy paper together, there's no need to have all of this contractual and de-risking the company. All these are old world thoughts, is the way we look at it. A new age company, there is work today, it's a contract of employment, and you treat them well and they do well. And I think also because in our context, the context is important. I think we are growing rapidly. Therefore, there is no need to worry about productivity and having too many people on the floor, taking out the girls, all that we are not worried about, thinking about at this point in time. So therefore, it has helped us, that new context and new age company mindset has helped us not to worry about having people on contract, not to have temporary workforce, contract work, multiple layers of workforce many companies have.
Yeah.
Right. And also when we determine the salary for these girls, we said we'll pay more than minimum wages.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. So a lot of progressive, each one of this was debated for 15 to 20 minutes. Each item on I said 2 items now. Each of these 2 items were discussed for half an hour before we signed up internally, the strategy note. Yeah. So it's a very different thinking. The way we think itself is different. And I think all of us have to challenge, being HR folks. I think we have to challenge for tomorrow rather than carry the baggage of yesterday.
Yeah.
I hope Shivram that answers your question. So the other important thing is, what are your future goals, Sundar and
Rajini, maybe before we go to the future goals, you should listen to some of our women associates. Just a minute. This is a 1-minute video.
கல்பனா, நான் வந்து கிருஷ்ணகிரிலேருந்து வரேன். நான் வந்து போரிங் ஆப்ரேட்டராக வெல்ட் ஷாப்பில் ஒர்க் பண்ணுறேன். ஸோ ஃபஸ்ட்டு நான் வந்து இந்த கம்பெனி வந்து எப்படி ஜாயின் பண்ணேன்னா, ரொம்பவே இந்த ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி எனக்கு கிடைக்குமா இல்லையா, நான் பிஎஸ்சி மேக்ஸ் முடித்தேன். ஸோ பிஎஸ்சி முடித்தவங்களுக்கு இந்த கம்பெனியெல்லாம் வந்து பிஇ தான் எடுக்கிறாங்க, இங்கே எங்களுக்கு கிடைக்குமானே தெரியாமல் இருந்தது. ஆனால் எக்ஸாம் அதெல்லாம் பாஸ் பண்ணிவிட்டு இங்கே வந்து கம்பெனியில் ஜாயின் பண்ணோம். இதுவே எங்களுக்கு வந்து ரொம்ப ஹாப்பியாக இருந்தது. அதுக்கப்புறம் எங்கள் அம்மா வந்து ரொம்பவே உடம்பு சரியில்லாமல் கஷ்டப்பட்டாங்க. அப்போ வந்து அவங்க துணி கூட துவைக்க முடியாது. அந்த டைமில் நான் வந்து இயர்ன் பண்ணி அவங்களுக்கு வந்து வாஷிங் மிஷின் வாங்கி கொடுத்தேன். நாங்கள் வந்து 1 lakh வெஹிக்கிள் வந்து அச்சீவ் பண்ணோம். அன்னைக்கு வந்து நான் ஸ்பீச் கொடுத்தேன். அதாவது என்னென்னா, இதை வந்து நாங்கள் டபுளாக ஆக்குவோம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி நான் ஸ்பீச் கொடுத்தேன். ஃபினான்ஷியலாக நான் வந்து இப்போ எங்கள் ஃபேமிலிக்கு வந்து ஒரு பிக்கஸ்ட் சப்போர்ட்டாக இருக்கேன். இப்போ வந்து ரோட்டில் எங்கேயாச்சும் எங்களோட வெஹிக்கிள் போச்சுன்னா நான் வந்து ரொம்ப ஹாப்பியாக இருக்கேன். என் ஃப்ரெண்டு வந்து கேட்டாங்க, என்ன எலக்ட்ரிக் ஸ்கூட்டர்னு சொல்கிற, மழைலாம் பெஞ்சா எப்படி தாங்குமா அப்படின்னு சொல்லி கேட்டாங்க. அதுக்கு நான் சொன்னேன், இது வந்து வாட்டர் ப்ரூஃப் இருக்குது. ஸோ வந்து ரீசெண்டாக வந்து
Hi, I'm Yamini Kavya from Madurai. இங்கே ஓலாவில் வந்து வெல்டு ஷாப்பில் ஒர்க் பண்ணுறேன். ரொம்பவே ப்ரௌடாக இருக்குது.
Is it audible, Rajini?
வெஹிக்கிளோட ஒரு போன் தான் வந்து ஃப்ரேம். அங்கே அந்த
Yes, but you can increase the volume a little bit.
நான் வந்து மதுரையில்
No,
இங்கே
I'm
வந்து
trying to,
ஒர்க்
but
பண்ணுறேன்.
unfortunately not
ஃபஸ்ட்டு
able.
வீட்டிலேருந்து இவ்வளோ தூரம் அலோவ் பண்ணதே ரொம்ப பெரிய விஷயம். ஓலாவில் ஃபுல்லாக உமன்ஸ் தான் ஒர்க் பண்ணுறாங்க அப்படின்ற ஒரு சேஃப்டிக்காகவே வந்து இவ்வளோ தூரம் அனுப்பிச்சி விட்டாங்க. ஒரு உமன் 2 உமனுக்கு வந்து சேஃப்டி கொடுக்குறதே பெரிய விஷயம். இங்கே இவ்வளோ பேருக்குமே வந்து ஃபுல் சேஃப்டி கொடுக்குறாங்க அப்படின்றது வந்து ரொம்பவே ஓலால வந்து ரொம்ப ஸ்பெஷலாக இருக்குது. ஹாய் அமே.
Yeah. I think one of the questions that you asked was, what is the impact it has created on the employees and on the community, right? So it's there on the screen. I'm not going to read it out, but I think I spoke during the entire session how we have helped improve self-confidence, self-esteem, unlocking their full potential, helping them realize their passion. More importantly, right, being financially independent, being able to take decisions on their own, being able to influence family decisions. I think these are, things that can happen only when somebody provides such opportunities. And for the community, right, it's a lot of people feel proud about working at Ola and that they come from their village, right? So they talk about it very proudly in their village circles as well. And a lot of girls are actually, aspiring to do higher education. We talked about girls with graduation in science courses. So, for the next 6 to 7 months, we are looking to initiate educational curriculum where they can actually be, qualified more technically. And that can be an enablement for their career going forward. So these are some of the impacts that, the all-women strategy has created for the Ola colleagues and also for the community.
Great. I'm happy that, a lot of higher education opportunities are provided, because that will take them to the next level and create, the more deeper impacts for their family and their local communities. Thank you, Sundar. And, if you want to share some more, please do so.
I think very quickly, I know we are sort of running behind time, but a lot of, involvement of our colleagues, be it World Environment Day, right? They plan, they execute. International Women's Day. You can see, how happy they are, and, they're fully engaged at work. We do our annual sports event. The girls play a variety of games. Incidentally, we had 2 of our women associates who came and participated in our campus tournament, right? And they were runners-up in badminton. And you could see how happy they were, because they never got these opportunities to be able to come to a city like Bangalore and then play a game with people who have facilities and they do well, right? So I think this really helps elevate their confidence levels and, help them think more broadly about their future and how they can unlock their own abilities. You can see in the left picture is our planted Mr. Ramesh. So every Friday he spends time with our women associates on an initiative called Lunch with the Leader, right? And we have a rigor where women associates can talk very honestly, openly about, what's working well, what can be better. And then we have a mechanism to internally review and see, what is that we can do. And if for some reasons we're not able to address it, go back and honestly communicate, saying that it will take some time. I think people expect that communication to be in good order, not necessarily meet everything that they want, right? So be respectful to them by ensuring that we are communicating on what we are doing in regards to what they expect. The middle picture is all about, women's safety. How do we ensure that we train them on skills to keep them safe, especially, while they come to work or even otherwise, so the entire 1,600 women in the factory were trained on self-defense mechanism. Here you can see the medical doctor and, attending to our women associates. So yeah, these are some of the initiatives. So it's very interesting, right? Our women associates are part of our brand, right? I think it's their emotions, their life comes to the fore. So they feel really good about it, right? It's not just they come only to do work for 9 hours. They are involved in a larger vision. There's one video, maybe I was not able to show it for want of time. Maybe we can go for backward and show. this was one of those, it is, yeah, community drive. So this is a great example of, our women don't just come for the 9 hours into the factory, right? How do we really involve them in the mission electric, right? So they are brand ambassadors for the mission electric, right? So, and that's where they fully commit themselves, feel that they're not coming just for a livelihood, but they come here because there's a purpose and they want to contribute to that purpose. We had a event, 6 of our women associates drove on scooter from Bangalore to Hyderabad. It typically takes about 6 to 8 hours in car, and it took the girls about 12.5 hours to travel the distance on scooter, right? So just imagine the level of commitment, the fearlessness, and then company very strongly believes that we have to use them to set these new benchmarks. And these can be like, stories. This can be like role models for more women in the industry, more women in the community. So I think, yeah, it is not just, getting them to work, but then involving them in the big picture. And that's the way we have leveraged the women's strategy beyond just the 4 walls of Future Factory.
Thank you, Sundar. Can you sum it up with what are your future, how your future looks like? What have you planned?
Yeah, maybe I'll take that. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so future plan is currently, I think we do about 1,000 scooters a day, and it will not be very far when we start doing 3,000 scooters a day. The factory will get expanded to do 10 million scooters, and very soon we will start exporting. Last 7-8 months, we've been on top of the charts for market share, and on the Wagon portal, we've been the maximum selling scooter in the country. Over 2 lakh scooters already sold within 1 year. So the business is growing rapidly, and we had 0 experience centers. In the last 4 months, we built 400 experience centers, and we are building 400 more in the next 3 months. No retail company builds 800 experience centers in 6-7 months period. So all of this means that the product and the EV penetration in the country is growing. In Calcutta, we have 50% EV penetration of scooters, for example, and other markets as well. It is growing 24, 25, 26% is standard EV penetration of scooters today. And I think a lot of it is to do with our girls and the factory and our ability to produce. So we will expand capacity and we will add more people, and we will grow from 1,500 women to 3,000 women soon. And that will give more opportunities for jobs and growth for them. That's one. Second is, it's just not a 2-wheeler factory, not just a scooter factory. We will be launching the motorbike end of this year, beginning of next year. So that is going to build a motorcycle line as well. And next to the plant, a new cell plant is coming up. We will be manufacturing India's first EV cell. And even for the cell plant, we've decided that all our associates are going to be women associates. So that whole hub that we are building in Pochampalli will be a EV hub, and the EV hub will be run by women. So nothing gets created overnight. I think if you wait and watch and look at us over the next 3 to 5 years, we would have made a huge impact to the districts in and around where we operate. And we would have really helped a lot of women be independent economically and as well as be able to career-wise have confidence that they can achieve something.
Very interesting, Bala. Thank you so much. I think some of the listeners, participants would like to ask you a few questions. I'll request them to do so.
Questions will come in chat box or?
Yeah, chat box is available. Guys, if you would like to address it to either Mr. Bala or Mr. Sundar, please do so.
Yes.
No plans to start a factory anywhere else. The last question from Rajesh Kumar Jha, the factory will continue to be at Pochampalli and we will expand in Pochampalli for now. What is Experience Center? Experience Center is our own sales office. We don't have dealers and distributors. We deliver directly at home. Imagine a refrigerator, a 2-door, 6 feet coming from Flipkart and Amazon at your house. If that can come to your house, why can't a scooter come to your house? Right? So we believe in direct to consumer. And however, e-commerce in this country is only about 4-5% that we buy through e-commerce. Rest of us still go to the stores. So similarly for scooter buying as well, people want to come and touch and feel and see the place where it is sold and serviced. So we are building this experience centers. They're nothing but a sales office, but it gives far more experience than selling scooters. It's a place where our customers come regularly. They hang out there. And all our community rides, customer engagement, all that happens at the experience center.
Do you engage migrant labor?
We don't have hostels. We don't believe in building hostels. The community there in Pochampalli has built enough and more housing. It has improved the economy of the village there. Government of Tamil Nadu is happy to build a hostel, so it's for them to decide. Yeah, maybe you take a couple of questions.
Do you engage migrant labor? Not immediately. Yes, the scale of the ambition is such that yes, we will need people across India to come and join this Mission Electric. We will welcome such people across the country to come and join this workforce over time. But for now, yes, we have people in and around Tamil Nadu, predominantly from Tamil Nadu.
On the outsourcing one, we generally don't do outsourcing. Even the entire battery pack is made in-house. The cell will be made in-house. The motor is made in-house. And even our brand champions, some of them are, largely in-house. We believe largely doing everything in-house. The software is not outsourced. A lot of products that we build are all done in-house. Therefore, we do not have a huge outsourcing activity plan right now. What ER or IR problem you foresee? I mean, humans are human, so we'll have to ensure that their engagement and enthusiasm level that is there today continues over a period of time. And that is the effort. And when you engage with them and they engage with the org, and when there is a purpose, I think, and increasingly I'm finding, if you ask me personally, increasingly I'm finding the whole concept of employee relations shifting. There's a huge big shift happening on how work gets done and how people engage and how you treat them and how they want to give back. There's a lot of big changes happening in the world around us. So I don't see too much of an IR problem cropping up in the future. There is no workforce union, and we don't intend having a union for the near future. Skill differentiation, pay difference. They are all very young. There's not much of skill difference and pay difference. They are 2 years in the system, and they just completed their apprenticeship, as Sundar said, and we had a rigorous process of making them probationers, and many of them are on probation right now. So We will confirm them when they are due. So right now we do not have a pay difference. You want to take some?
Oh yeah, I mean, we do a lot of CSR work. Yeah, the Ola Foundation is committed to, invest in projects that bring change in lives of people. So we run a lot of medical camps, even during COVID times, we ran camps which helped people, take care of ailments. So yeah, so a lot of CSR initiatives, especially around the health side, we have done in the Krishnagiri belt. Please, bench leadership.
Something on ergonomics. What kind of ergonomic support you provide?
We are the benchmark. That's what
Yeah.
Taking a comment, not a question.
Okay.
Dean Dayalan.
Yeah. Dean's asking about bench leadership for others to benchmark. I think we spoke about right from day one, having an all-women's factory with no automotive pedigree is unheard of, right? I mean, companies do scale up over time or do have a very small setup. And I did mention saying that people who visit our Ola factory the very entrance will be very daunting because it's so huge, right? And to be able to trust an all-woman workforce to do the job is a bench leading practice. Ergonomics, yes, it's an aspect that we work on a daily basis. You can never design it to perfection, especially in a manufacturing world where things are very agile and lines keep continuously evolving. We see a lot of opportunities to make improvements to the ergonomics of the stations where our associates work. We take that very seriously, and over the last 18 months, I can say significant changes to the line design, the station, the way it is set up. A lot of work has happened in that space. We are going to invest more capacity. So a lot of lessons that we learned from the initial capacity that we set up will be incorporated. And that's part of an ongoing process. How do we continue to provide, workplace which is enabling for our colleagues. I think, yeah. Working in hazardous area, again, all the best-in-class HSE practices are being followed. There hasn't been any case where it's come to our attention that we had to change our manufacturing process in paint shop because it is unhealthy for our associates. Yeah, there are women employees who may feel uncomfortable to be, wearing jackets and, other PPEs or special equipments. And it's a choice that they make, and we support in actually sometimes moving them out and put them in other lines where they feel comfortable. So
some of the welding and paint shop is all completely robotics as well.
Exactly.
So the exposure to human is very low.
Yeah. We do have a crash facility. It's a very small facility, but as part of our EV hub that Bala spoke about, Future Factory is for two-wheeler. We are coming up with a cell manufacturing. So we are coming up with central services which are very important to support the EV hub at a certain scale. So be it a central kitchen or a central, world-class crash, all of those are in the offering.
The important thing to remember is it's last 15 months we've been rolling out scooters. So it's a very, very young plant. A lot of things are still getting built.
Yeah. Great. I think you pretty much answered all questions, Rajni.
Yes, Sundar. Thank you so much. Bala, thank you for taking a time out and sharing some great practices, especially with the gender diverse workforce. I'm sure there's a lot of takeaways for people who've listened to Sundar and yourself. Thank you. And as you said, we would like to meet you sometime in person and have a face-to-face session, so the learning is more intense. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All the
participants.
best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, all
Bye.
the best.